Welcome to the Mindful University Project podcast, where we explore the power of mindfulness in daily life. This is brought to you by the Mindful University Project at the University of Rochester's Health Promotion Office, and our mission is to foster a culture of presence, compassion, and well-being on campus. By integrating mindfulness into academic and personal life, we aim to support mental health, enhance focus, and build resilience to stress.
The Mindful University Project offers a variety of mindfulness and contemplative practices, including yoga and meditation classes, retreats, trainings, and campus-wide initiatives to support students, faculty, and our staff.
Through this podcast, we're creating a space for our university community to share their mindfulness journeys, offering insights into how these practices shape their lives. Thank you for tuning in. Let's embark on this mindfulness journey together and explore how being present can transform our lives.
Everyone, my name is Rebecca Block. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the director of the Mindful University Project. And today I'm really excited to have the co-founder of the app Soul here with us. So I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey, Rebecca. So good to see you again. Thanks so much for having me on. Hey, everybody. This is Nazar. I'm co-founder and CEO of Soul. And we've grown to become the #1 spiritual and mental health app in the United States, and recently partnered with Rebecca and the Mindful University Project to launch Soul at U of R and enable it to be free for all students, faculty, and staff at the university. So really excited about that. And thank you so much for your support, Rebecca.
Yeah, so grateful to have your support and your collaboration. I think this is going to be such an amazing offering for our University of Rochester community, and really excited to dive deeper into your story and also the impacts of Soul. So let's get started. So can you tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to co-found this app?
Yes, so purpose has always been, just the idea of living a purposeful life has always been something that's been really front and center for me ever since I was a kid. And, I grew up in a very civic service oriented family. So on my father's side, I'm half Greek and half Libyan. And on my father's side, the Libyan side, my grandfather actually founded the country of Libya. And then my Greek grandfather was one of the first ambassadors to Libya from Greece. And on that side of the family, we have like a great uncle who was prime minister of Greece at some point. So there's always been this kind of like history of, just serving others and trying to do things for other people around you. And I remember growing up and, that was just kind of like a big question in the house. It's like, oh, that's great. Like, hey, so what are you doing for the world? It's like, I don't know. I'm just playing basketball with my friends kind of thing, right? So this idea of trying to make your life count and sort of do something for other people has always just been really front and center. And I've tried to live my life as a sort of purpose-oriented entrepreneur and investor person. So all the different things, all the different paths I've taken in life have all been oriented around this idea of like, how can I make some small positive dent in the universe for people around me? And I really gravitated towards technology at an early age. I was an engineer in college and, tried to hack together some like video games and stuff like that when I was a teenager. And then, we moved around a lot as a family. I was born in Greece, lived in London, and then Silicon Valley, and then Cyprus, a little island in the Mediterranean, and just met people from all over the world. So I always had this kind of like international kind of aspect to things. And I remember trying to combine those two things in my head, like, okay, I like technology and I like the internet, I like international stuff and helping people all over the world. And that's just been kind of, my career path. So I ended up at Goldman Sachs, my first job out of grad school. I ran their internet investment banking business for Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Russia, and then left Goldman and was the CEO of a young social networking company. And we grew to 100 million users and $100 million in revenues and got acquired for $1 billion and had this like great like entrepreneur outcome kind of thing. And then I became an investor. I joined a firm in New York called Tiger Global and helped invest in all these startups all around the world, in India, in Africa, in Latin America, in China, and then left and started my own VC firm called Rice Capital, doing more of the same, trying to like empower these entrepreneurs in all these different parts of the world. We're trying to build big, meaningful infrastructure for people in their own country. And so in many countries around the world, you don't have access to credit the same way that we do in the US. where you don't have access to like FedEx and can't ship packages around, or you don't have access to health insurance, or, you know, a lot of different things. So trying to back the entrepreneurs who are doing all that has been really rewarding. And then obviously, you know, COVID changed a lot of things around the world, and it certainly changed a lot of things for me and my family. You know, my wife lost both of her parents, and, you know, I lost some friends, and, you know, there were, you know, some entrepreneurs that we work with at Rise Capital who were, you know, incredibly depressed. And I just remember thinking at the time, I'm like, okay, something's wrong in the world here. You know, we are, as a species, we are, you know, richer than we've ever been. We are more powerful than we've ever been. We've got these smartphones and now AI and stuff like that. We are living longer than we've ever lived. And yet everybody around the world seems to be incredibly lonely, anxious, depressed, you know, just dealing with a lot of existential stuff. So what's causing this? And I remember, you know, spending most of COVID looking into that, trying to look for answers, right, to help me, my family, my friends kind of cope with things. And, you know, came across a bunch of research that indicated that if you can live life in a more purposeful manner, you know, if you can be a little bit more spiritual, what psychologists call spiritual, you know, in the way that you live life, you can actually reduce anxiety, depression, addiction, even suicide by 80%. And when I found this out, I was like, okay, this is like a miracle pill if this is true. This is crazy. Like, we can actually solve so many of these, you know, loneliness pandemic, unhappiness epidemics, you know, suicide crisis. We can solve all this by helping people to live a little bit more purposefully. And so how do I do that? Like, I need to create a product to help do that. Obviously partnered with Dr. Lisa Miller to do that. And I remember talking to her and just being like, hey, I got this idea. It's a crazy idea. I'm going to call it Soul. What do you think? And she's like, I'm in, like, let's do this. And so we just, you know, just started doing it. And that's kind of how Soul got going.
Thanks so much for sharing that story. It sounds like you had a lot of like childhood experiences with purpose, and then throughout your life, and then also the pandemic, you notice this theme of loneliness and really trying to figure out how to support individuals, especially find that sense of purpose and spirituality. So when did this start?
Yeah, so we launched the beta version of Soul about a year and a half ago.
Mhm.
Uh, and, you know, there's two ways you can do things as a tech entrepreneur, right? You can either kind of build things in secret behind a curtain and then, you know, have a big unveiling, hey, here's Soul, you
Mhm.
know, or you can build public. And, you know, for us, we decided to basically build this public,
Mhm.
you know, like, let's launch a really early version of this, and let's just build and add things along the way, rather than waiting until we have some perfect finished product and then unveiling it. And the reason we decided to do that is because, you know, if you look at the research of spirituality and purpose, people experience purpose in tremendously unique and different ways all around the world, right? So, you know, being spiritual, being purposeful is the third oldest documented human behavior, right?
What are
You
the
know,
other two?
behind the other two are procreation
Mhm.
and eating. So we have, you know, several 100,000 years of history and documentation that humans eat. And it's obvious we need to eat. We
Mhm.
need and
Mhm.
same amount of documentation that we procreate, obviously,
Mhm.
right? But the third oldest documented human behavior is spiritual behavior, right?
That's
So
wild.
there's evidence of birth rituals and death rituals going back 100,000 years. And so the reason why that's relevant is, if you think about the history of our species, right, things like writing and money, you know, two of the things that define our modern life are only 6,000 years old.
Mhm.
Okay. 100,000 years versus 6,000 years. We've only been using money and writing things down for 6,000 years. We've only been gathering together in towns and farming for about 12,000 years. We've only been creating art and music for about 30,000 years. We've been doing spiritual stuff for 100,000 years, right? And we've been doing this all around the world. Every culture, every corner of the world, you know, from the Maori to, you know, you name it, every single part of the world has their own unique way, their own cultural way of trying to feel purposeful, trying to feel like we're part of something bigger than just ourselves, right? And so all around the world, we've created mythologies, we've created stories that position us, humans, at the center of a big cosmic drama where our decisions, our brains, our ethicality or morality determines the outcome of the universe at large, right? We as a species, we have this, it turns out, based on the research of Dr. Miller and others, that we as a species have this really, really deep need, at the very top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this really, really super strong need to feel like we are part of something bigger, to feel like our lives matter. We're not just kind of living and eating and doing something. We're part of a story, right? And so how do you, think about yourself as part of a story? Well, there's very different cultural ways to do that. And so if you want to do that correctly, you really need to make it like an incredibly personalized experience, right? It has to be at the core of each individual's cultural leanings and moral leanings and worldview and all of that sort of stuff. Like what makes you happy, what inspires you, that sort of stuff. And so that's how we decided to build Soul. And obviously doing that, taking 10,000 years of human history and cramming it into something the size of a phone and a way where it's like, it's not offensive to people. A Christian person may not want to see, ancient Hindu rituals as part of their daily experience. That might be offensive to them. And so how do you do that in an incredibly personalized way? And so this is a project that, we're essentially building like the human spiritual genome, really is kind of what we're trying to build at Soul, so that each person has their own kind of path. And so you could either build that in private over the course of like 5 years, or you just get going and just kind of see how people respond and see what works. So that's what we decided to do at Soul. So we launched our beta about 1.5 years ago. It's taken off. We've become the #1 spiritual and mental health app in the United States.
It's such a success.
It's been really remarkable. It's been really exciting to watch happen. We actually had to purposely try to stop growing the last 9 months. We took off the ability to invite other friends in Soul for 9 months because we didn't want to grow too fast before we kind of finished the product and the experience and stuff. And now we're kind of on the cusp of, having a pretty finished version of the product. I'd say by mid-June, it's going to be really exciting what Soul looks like. It'll be, it'll feel like magic almost. You'll enter the app for the first time and it'll just be an incredibly personalized experience where you can ask any question and get guidance on your career and anything else. Who am I? Like, what should I be doing with my life? Like, how do I become a better person? How do I become less anxious? Like, what are the things that I can do that are personalized to me, that makes sense for me, in order to become a healthier, happier person. And so we're really excited by it. The feedback we've gotten from users has been incredible. We've literally had users tell us that like Soul has saved their life.
Wow.
Like I was on the brink of suicide and I've started to find community and started to find, purpose and better understand myself. And I feel happier now, by using this app for a few weeks. And so it's been so rewarding to see this happen. And
That's amazing.
I'm just excited to keep.
Yes. For those who may not be familiar with the app, how would you describe Soul and what makes it different from other mental health or spirituality apps that are currently out there?
Yeah, so, the way we think of ourselves is we're your soul's companion. We're like your Jiminy Cricket, right? So Pinocchio had Jiminy Cricket to help him become a real boy, right? If you're familiar with that story. And, in today's world, which is incredibly confusing and anxiety riddled, you got social media and AI and, geopolitical conflicts, and it's all being pumped into our brains every day. And it's just like, what do I do about all this? It's useful to have a little friend, a little buddy, your soul, your SOL, soul, is your Jiminy Cricket, who can help you kind of point you in the right direction and say, okay, well, here are the activities and the communities that can make sense for you. You're not alone. You belong. Here's other people going through exactly what you're going through. Here are some breathing exercises or some positive affirmations or some inspirational quotes or some Bible readings or your daily horoscope or whatever it is you're into. Here are things that can help you through your day and through your week to feel more purposeful. And of course, the research behind this is like breathtaking because if you can do those purposeful things for about 7 weeks, about 50 days, literally the neuroplasticity of your brain changes and you become a far more resilient person. You become a far more hopeful person, a far more optimistic and positive person with better relationships and greater focus and less anxiety. And things just roll off your back like water off of a duck kind of thing, after you do this for a few weeks. So, we're really excited to integrate that science into the app and to try to help people build these purposeful habits with the assistance of their little Jiminy Cricket, their soul, their SOL. So that's how the app works.
Thanks so much for sharing. So, what kind of practices or tools does Soul app that you are feeling like especially excited about that could be potentially really meaningful for the University of Rochester community?
Yeah, absolutely. So our users really, especially U of R users, really love doing what we call a mood check.
Mm.
And it's a journaling entry where you're just registering your mood. Okay. You're just choosing, like, how do I feel? And based on how you feel, you can describe it and say, I'm feeling this way because of society or because of work or because of travel or leisure or schoolwork or whatever the case may be. And you can kind of define, you start to explore your own meaning. And when you share this, what's really cool is you can decide to log it privately as your own private journal, or you could share it with friends who you're connected with on Soul. And if you share with friends on Soul that you're not feeling so well, they get a notification to send you what we call a hug. They send you like a positive message of support, like, hey, like, I got your back. It's okay, Rebecca. I know you're having a tough day. I'm here for you. Like, give me a call if you need to, and you can send them a blessing or a hug or joy or, all these different kinds of supportive things. And at the same time, based on how you're feeling in the app, we recommend things to you to help you feel better. So if
Mm.
you're like, you know what, I'm just feeling lonely. Okay, well, great. Here's a community. Here's a community of people right now who you can connect with, who can help you not feel lonely. In the app, here's other Soul users who have the same kind of personality as you, are interested in the same things, and they're here for you. You can talk to them. You can, not feel lonely. So we recommend things to you based on how you're feeling. And so users really appreciate this because, like, we're there for you no matter what's going on in your life. You're feeling great, you're feeling bad. Like, we got something for you to help you either perpetuate a good feeling
Hmm.
or to help improve a bad feeling. And so users really like that. About 50% of our users do that every day.
Wow.
And then, users, again, depending on their own interests, some people are interested in more religious types of content. And so we have very Christian users who every day they come in and they do their Bible readings. And what we do is we, according to the liturgical calendar, we take the official readings that you're supposed to read on a daily basis. We actually read them to you, we interpret them for you, and then explain to you how you could apply them in your daily life. And so you could just be in your car or on your way to school or whatever, and you got your daily Bible reading, and it's like, hey, in Matthew such and such and John such and such, blah, blah, blah. And today, this is how you could apply these lessons. Think about trying to do this or think about trying to do that. And so, some people like using Soul in that way. Other people are like, well, I don't want religious content. I'm just into astrology and some breathing exercises and some meditation. We got that for you too. And so you
Hmm.
get your daily horoscopes,
Hmm.
from every tradition around the world, whatever makes sense for you. You can get your Mayan horoscopes or your Vedic horoscopes or your Chinese horoscopes or whatever you're into. You can literally live a more purposeful, connected life every day on Soul. So it's been a lot of fun to see all the different ways people use it.
Yeah, it's amazing how personalized it is. And I'm just curious, can you tell me more about the groups and like what those look like?
The groups,
The
yeah,
communities.
the
Yeah.
circle, yeah, the
Hmm.
community. Yeah. So we call them circles, and yeah, basically within each circle, any student at U of R, because everybody at U of R has a free subscription to Soul. Any subscriber at Soul can create their own circle. And in your circle, you can talk about whatever you want. And so we have circles on there of like people, one's called like I'm going through a rough patch, where people just get on there and they're like, they really open their heart and they're like, you know what? My sister died, and I am just completely shell shocked and I don't know what to do about this. And then other Soul users jump in and are like, so sorry to hear that. Like, I'm here for you. Like, I had somebody pass and this is what helped me feel better. And, and then you have people, there's other circles about like relationships, right? Like, hey, I'm having a hard time, like, building a relationship with my boyfriend or girlfriend. And I don't know why I'm always in this pattern of just dating people for 2 months and I can't build anything. Like, how do I fix this? And then other Soul users come in and they offer suggestions around that. So there's all these different parts of our lives, that where we're seeking to live a more meaningful, purposeful life, to connect with other people, more authentically, to connect with ourselves and better understand what we're going through, to connect with something that feels like it's bigger than us. And so there's all these different areas of life where people are creating circles on Soul and having these conversations. And it's been really special to watch. It's been really cool to see that happen.
That's amazing. And I can't wait for more people to start using the app. It seems like a really awesome app that's so personalized and helps people find spirituality no matter their background, religion, or culture. So, what inspired you to partner with us at the Mindful University Project to support the University of Rochester community?
Well, I mean, you're a visionary, Rebecca. I mean, you've been through the Dr. Lisa, and SMBI program and starting the Mindful University project and rolling that. I believe it's one of the first, if not the first, mindfulness projects at the university level in the United States. And that's incredibly prescient of you to do that. So, we figured like this would just be a perfect partnership. We're a startup, obviously, and as a startup, you don't get everything right, from day one, and you're furiously trying to build things and respond to user feedback and try to improve the app and improve the experience. And we figured, like, you know what, like, you really get this. Like, you've been such a visionary in rolling out the idea of mindfulness within the student population, the academic context at a university level. Like, let's partner with you and do this together and hopefully build the beginnings of something that could be really useful and really powerful, at the university level. And so since then, what's been exciting is we got approached by the NSF, the National Sciences Foundation, about like, hey, like, if you can do this on a repeatable basis, like in an academic context, like across the United States, like, wow, you could really help to solve, what is fundamentally like a mental health crisis
Mhm.
going on um, amongst the student population in the U.S. And as this crisis is so important to solve because universities and academic institutions are having a hard time doing their job of teaching students because students are going through so much other stuff,
Yeah.
from a mental, emotional, and social perspective that if you don't correct that, then how are people going to learn, right? They're so focused on all these sort of existential questions that they can't really focus on their academic studies. So it's been super exciting to partner with you. We're so thankful for this partnership and all the groundbreaking work you're doing at U of R. And yeah, it's really exciting. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really awesome to be approached by you and Dr. Lisa Miller after the conference last fall. I went to several of Dr. Lisa Miller's conferences at Teachers College, and it was just so wonderful to see all of her work and read her book and learn more about spirituality and how that can really impact mental health and purpose and neuroscience based on all these different things that spirituality and mindfulness can really cause all these great benefits with individual well-being. As you mentioned, like everybody's well-being is so interconnected to their work performance, their academics, their social life. And so it's really awesome to be able to lead the Mindful University project to offer these array of mind-body practices for individuals, not just a one type of mindfulness meditation practice, but lots of different mind body approaches that are providing individuals with the opportunity to engage in a variety of different practices that really are what is tailored best for them so that they can have a plethora of things to choose from. And so, what I really love about this app is it's so personalized, it has lots of different opportunities for individuals to engage with. So, have you seen any early feedback or signs of impact from our partnership so far? And what has been exciting or surprising from this? Also, just wanted to let you all know for all the people listening, we did just start this partnership the week of April 7th during our Flourish Festival. So it's just been a little bit over a month. So just wanted to let you all know that it just launched. So if you don't already know about it, we'll talk more about how to subscribe at the end.
Yes. So, like any kind of new thing, right? There's some stuff that you're like, oh, wow, we got that right. This is really cool. It's really working. And other stuff that it's like, oh man, we should have done this better. And so, we actually had a focus group with some U of R students last week.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah. We like a follow-up session and kind of previewing some of the other things we're thinking about doing in the app and getting feedback on the app. Generally speaking, like people seem really excited about it. They're like, I go to Seoul and I learn about all these different sorts of traditions that I've been curious about and I didn't know anything about. And so I go on there and I'm like, oh, wow, this is kind of how Buddhism works. Or, oh, well, that's what Taoism's all about. And these are practices I can do. And that's really cool. So people are using it a lot for exploration,
Mm.
which is really interesting, And so It's not like people are going in with like a lot of students seem to not be going in with like a fixed sort of set of like, okay, I want to do this and I'm committed to this one thing. It's more like, I want to go and kind of play around a little bit and kind of see what fits me, try on some different clothes, so to speak, and see what fits me, as part of my own journey to understand who I am and how I fit into the broader world. And so that's been really cool to understand that exploration, intention amongst the student population. Um, what we noticed is from an app perspective, we noticed there was the day of the Flourish Festival and the day before we saw like a bump in users, right, coming from U of R. And then when we looked at, okay, like how many people like signed up with their U of R email address, it was smaller than that bump was, right? So we're like, we need to do a better job of communicating there's clearly a lot of U of R students on Soul, but not all of them know that they can just go and enter the U of R email address to unlock the full subscription of Soul. So like, we need to do a better job of that as an app, with you guys. And next time that we do this at another school is just kind of making that process clear so that people can really get the full benefit of Soul, because Soul is largely free. It's kind of like Spotify in that way. You can access most of Spotify for free, but doing things like creating your own playlist and unlocking some additional functionality is you subscribe for that. And most users pay $8 a month to subscribe to Soul to unlock those features. U of R students and faculty and staff get it for free, right? And but they just don't know that yet, or they haven't figured out how to go in and enter the email address. So that's something we need to do a better job of, clearly at Soul. So it's been super exciting to see the response and the excitement and the enthusiasm and people kind of telling us how they're using the app and us seeing how they're using the app. But also there's always opportunities for improvement. So we're excited to.
Yeah, and we'll continue to promote on campus. If you follow various newsletters, flyers, we have stuff all over campus. But if you go to the Soul app on your App Store or Google Play, you can download it, log in and create an account with their U of R associated email, and then go to the settings and link to the organization and type in University of Rochester, and that's how you can get free premium access. So for those of you who signed up with their normal Gmail or another account, you can create a new account and get free access through your U of R email. So whether you're a current student or just graduated, your U of R email should get you free access regardless of if you just graduated or not. So
yeah, and just
yeah, go
one
for
thing
it.
to
Go
add
ahead.
is if you've already created an account with your Gmail, that's totally fine. All you do is go to link organization and enter your U of R email address
Oh,
there, and
amazing.
it'll unlock the subscription. So you don't even have to create your account with your U of R email address. Just as you're linking your account, you'll still get the subscription. So we wanted to build in that
Amazing.
flexibility for people. So yeah.
So if you were a subscriber already, highly recommend linking it to the organization so you get it for free so you don't have to pay. So what's your long-term vision for the app? I know it's just been an hour, or not an hour, a year and a half that it's been out. So I know there's another like full development launching in June. Is there any long-term visions that you have for the app?
Yeah, absolutely. It turns out about 80% of humans on planet Earth, we see ourselves as spiritual or purposeful people. And just to kind of maybe unbundle the word spiritual, because it can be a confusing word for people, right? From a psychological perspective, it just means, feeling more purposeful and connected to something bigger than yourself, right? And being spiritual, doesn't mean being religious. Those are two different things, right? So the same way that like, if you want to get your physical body fit, you can do exercise. You could do exercise at home. You could do planking at home, or you could do a Pilates thing, or you could just go for a walk or a little jog or whatever. But if you want to do exercise in an organized fashion with specific rules and outcomes and things like that, that's called sport. So sport is a form of exercise that is more organized and sort of, let's say ritualistic. It's the same thing with if you want to exercise your brain, it turns out. If you want to exercise your brain, you do spiritual things, and you can do spiritual things in a whole bunch of different ways. You can read positive affirmations. You do a whole bunch of different things. You read your horoscope or do a meditation or a breathing exercise. Those are all ways of feeling more purposeful and connecting yourself to you and to something bigger than yourself. If you want to do it on a more organized basis, that's called a religion. That's a way of being spiritual too. So you could be religious, not religious, atheistic. It's totally fine. But please do some kind of purposeful or spiritual activity, because it turns out it really improves your own mental, emotional, and social health. It actually boosts it by up to 4x, right? Which is incredible. So for us, the way we think about this is 80% of the world is purposeful and spiritual. And in today's environment, most people have a hard time finding what's right for them, right? Because, we have access to the internet. We hear about things from all over the world, but it's like, how do I, that Buddhism thing, that sounds interesting, or hey, I like yoga, or what's this astrology thing, or what's this kind of Taoism thing, or what's this, kind of, these exercises I'm hearing about. And so people are trying a lot of things, and there's not really a convenient way for somebody to try a bunch of things and create their own personalized program to live a more spiritual life. And that's what Soul is for. So, we see ourselves as, hopefully becoming the go-to tool and meeting place and community for, basically 4 billion people on planet Earth who are trying to live a more purposeful, life. And the good news is if we can do that, then we can help people, reduce their anxiety and reduce their, propensity to be addicted or depressed or suicidal by up to 80% and make the world a happier, healthier place. So that's our long-term vision, is really just being a tool for anyone, anywhere, being a tool for anyone, anywhere on planet Earth to live a more purposeful, happier, healthier life. That's kind of our vision.
Well, it's a very exciting and also really important mission, especially in today's landscape with lots of things going on in the world, for people to really find ways to find purpose and meaning and even connection on an app, or maybe through the app, in-person connections. So, if you could offer one piece of like a mindset shift or a practice piece of advice for you of our students, faculty, and staff beginning their healing or spirituality journey, what would it be?
Yeah, there's something I try to remind myself of whenever I'm feeling down. We all go through, bad times, good times. I went through a childhood trauma period, when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, and left some scars, on me. And we all go through different variations of that. We all have bad days. And, on my worst days, I try to remind myself of something. And I tend to be an engineer and science based, so I tend to gravitate towards like fact and science and rigor,
Mhm.
the way that I approach, finding meaning and purpose in life. And the thing I try to remind myself of, and I tell my kids this too, is if you think that you're going through a hard time, just remember the following. You were born on one out of only one out of a billion planets in the universe is capable of supporting life.
Mm.
And on this planet, your atoms and molecules were lucky enough to come together as a human. There are over a billion species of life on Earth. You came together as a human, not like a bacteria or cockroach, right? So you're literally 1 out of a billion times 1 out of a billion lucky. The probability of you being born as you, as a human on planet Earth and being alive, is literally the same probability as winning the Powerball lottery like 5 times in a row, which has never happened and will never happen. And so if you ever feel like you're going through a tough time and like, poor me, and man, life is so hard, just remember you won the lottery. You literally won the lottery by being alive. And so just make the most of it. Enjoy the good times, and power through the bad times. The bad times will get better. This whole journey that we're on is literally the equivalent of winning a lottery, right? We're so lucky just to be alive as humans. So make the most of it, right? And so I try to remind myself of that whenever times are bad. And I just kind of look around. I have this practice that I do where, I go for a little jog in the morning in nature, and I just look at the trees and I try to hear the birds singing and try to spot the sun, even if it's kind of a rainy day or whatever. And I'm just like, you know what? all these things are they're they're little miracles of life, and I get to experience all these things. Like no matter what happens the rest of the day, it's been a good day, you know. So hopefully that mindset shift is useful for people listening who are going through a tough time.
I love that. And I think something that is really important of us is to, you kind of touched upon this, is this sense of common humanity, that you're not alone in this, that there's a lot of other people going through a lot of hardships, and knowing that with that, there is a sense of community with that, that there's times where it's going to be great, there's times where it's going to be not so great, and that's just a part of the human experience as well. But also that's a gift to have both the highs and the lows, because like if you think about it, like just even being alive, as you mentioned, is such an amazing thing. And being able to use mindfulness, spirituality to kind of connect back to those things can be really helpful. So thanks for that word, those words of wisdom. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, and you know, to your point, like you're not alone going through these things, right? So you know, Dr. Miller and I, as I mentioned, you know, before the show, you know, started a podcast called Soul Searching, and the point of the podcast is to really reveal to people that all these people who you see as successful in life, these famous actors and these billionaires and these CEOs, and wow, they've got it really figured out, and man, I'm such a mess. That's not true. They're a mess too, right? And so on this podcast, the whole point of the podcast is we know people through their LinkedIn, right? Or if you're an actor, through your IMDb. We know them through their list of accomplishments. You did this and you did this
Yep.
and you did this and you're so accomplished, and that's amazing. You must have life figured out. But when you actually peel the onion and talk to them about their inner journey, what you see is they're just as messed up as you, right? So, you know, Rainn Wilson, you know, Dwight from The Office, we had him on Soul Searching, and he's this, you know, famous comedian, and he's got his
Mhm.
books and he's got TV shows and he's got all these sorts of things. And you talk to him, he's like, I was depressed. I was suicidal. I went through some like really tough times, and I had to try to figure it out. And, you know, I was exploring this stuff and exploring that stuff and trying to find meaning in this way and trying to find meaning in that way. And, you know, going through the 12 steps and like, you know, getting addicted to things, and went through some really tough times, you know, until he finally found his true self, and how his true self, you know, feels most at home in this world, his true calling, let's say. And that's a journey that we all go through, right? And so if anybody's listening to this and going through a tough time, it's not just you. We're all going through it. We're all on this journey, and we all have self-doubt, and we all feel, you know, self-conscious, and we think that we're not good enough, and we're nervous, and we all have these feelings, and it's okay. There's other people who are just like you going through exactly what you're going through. And hey, many of them are on Soul kind of sharing these sorts of things. And so hopefully you can find some people there or find them somewhere else. And, you know, you're not alone. You're not alone. So I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for talking about your experience, and then also bringing like the app to life, and also how we're partnering with you to really bring this app for free for all University of Rochester people. So really excited to have this collaboration. So grateful to have you and Dr. Lisa Miller to partner to offer this completely for free. So I highly encourage all of you listeners to join today and kind of explore it. As Nazar mentioned, kind of trying on the clothes. I like to tell people it's kind of like trying on a hat as well. Whatever analogy works best for you. But really excited for this. And do you have any last words for us? Anything that you'd like to tell the University of Rochester community?
Oh, just immensely grateful to you, Rebecca, and everybody at the university for, you know, giving Soul a chance and trying it out. And please give us your feedback. Let us know what we're not doing well. You know, offer suggestions on what you think we could do better. We're learning. We're on a journey as a startup, you know, just like we are as humans, as individuals, and we're just going to keep trying to get better and provide a more and more personalized and more valuable service to each and every person, you know, so we can help you on your own spiritual and journey of purpose in life. So yeah, thank you. Immensely grateful to you and the
Yeah.
entire university for partnering with
Yeah, I
us.
think as we can make everything more accessible, it's really awesome to be able to do this. So just so grateful for you, and the ability to bring this offering, this large offering to our community to really help support everybody's well-being and spirituality and sense of purpose. So for the listeners who may want to give feedback, is there a way on the app to do that? Is there a way to email you? How is the best way to give any feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the app, from like the main menu, it says, give us feedback and send a message,
Oh,
and
wow.
or email me directly, Nazar at getsol.app, GETSOL.app. Send me an email. I literally, like, all the reviews on our, on the app store and stuff like that, I personally respond to
Mhm.
all of those. Like, my main job is really listening to users and partners and trying to incorporate that feedback so we can make a better and better and better product. So let me know how we're doing, good or bad. All feedback is good feedback. So look forward to hearing from you.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much again. We are so excited for this partnership, and thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Really
Bye,
appreciate it.
everyone.